Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. I'm Shamela Pullen. Here's what we have in the bulletin. Start of the new school year overshadowed by lingering education woes. Mixed start for rural school bus system. And later in sports, Reggae Boys finalize preparations for World Cup qualifier clash versus Trinidad. Now the details. Buses under the newly launched rural school bus system failed to show up for the start of the new school term in St. Thomas Monday morning. But the situation was different in the corporate area, where Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon and MP Favour Williams rode with several students on a bus from Half-a-Tree to Papine. Our news center received reports that students in areas such as Yallis and Morant Bay were left waiting as early as 5 a.m. Monday morning. But the new rural school buses were a no-show. Many students were forced to seek alternative transportation to get to school. In Spanish Town, the situation was the same. In response, the Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, stated that it is investigating the matter, noting that buses had in fact been dispatched to the parishes. Meanwhile, over in the corporate area, Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon and Member of Parliament-elect for St. Andrew Eastern, Favour Williams, accompanied students on a school bus journey from Half-a-Tree to Papine.
Oh my God, this is so historic. The first morning of our school bus system, and our children are excited, the parents were excited. I just got to be on a bus that went from the Halfway Tree Transport Center up to Papine, and we dropped off several children along the way, and it was really a historic morning. They were happy. We are happy to be able to deliver this for our children. And I know when I go back to Papine, we're going to be receiving some children coming from Gordon Town. This is really historic because many of our children cannot afford the fares to go to school.
Dr. Morris-Dixon assured that additional areas will begin receiving service soon.
This is us saying to all the children across Jamaica that you matter. You matter big time. And so we're making it easy for you to be able to go to school every single day of the week. And this is just phase one. You know, we can't reach everybody right away. Over the years, we're going to add more to the school bus numbers. And so we'll be able to reach every child in rural Jamaica. And we'll also be able to reach some of them in the corporate area too.
At the same time, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz announced that 60 of the 100 buses recently procured for the Rural School Bus Initiative will be deployed Monday across several parishes. There have been growing concerns about the age and safety of the buses, which were sourced from the United States. However, Minister Vaz has sought to reassure parents and the wider public that the ministry will be closely monitoring the rollout. The new school year has officially gotten underway, but a number of old issues remain. In his back-to-school message, Jamaica Teachers Association President Mark Malaver pointed to the ongoing wage negotiations, poor infrastructure and educational inequity as problems which continue to hurt the sector. Details in this report.
The JTA was hoping that the ongoing wage negotiations would have concluded in time for the start of the new school year. But with a revised offer on the table, the talks continue. In his back-to-school message, JTA President Mark Malava stressed teachers are deserving of salaries that reflect the demands of the job.
The ongoing negotiations are about more than figures on a sheet of paper. They are about dignity, fairness, and respect. They are about ensuring that teachers can provide for their families without sacrificing their calling to the profession. I assure you, colleagues, that your association remains resolute in its advocacy. We will continue to represent you with firmness and fairness until we reach a settlement that recognizes your worth.
Salaries aside, he says the JTA continues to advocate for equitable funding for schools.
Whilst we commend the Ministry of Education for taking the necessary steps to commence repairs in some of our schools, too many of you face overcrowded classrooms, dilapidated buildings, and inadequate furniture. Too many students are learning in conditions that do not reflect the value this country claims to place on education. These conditions are not inconveniences, they are barriers to learning. The JTA insists that if we are serious about national development, we must first be serious about the spaces in which our children learn.
Mr. Malava also urged parents to be more involved in their children's education.
Education cannot be the responsibility of teachers alone. Your involvement, your encouragement, and your discipline at home are vital to a child's success. Attend the PTAs, visit the school often to talk with the teachers, and sometimes without even your child knowing that you will be visiting. The JTA is also committed to engaging the National Parent Teachers Association on matters of education. We also intend to step up our advocacy for greater support for the National Parent Support Commission.
Janella Precious, TVJ News.
The Jamaica Labour Party leader, Dr. Andrew Holness, is expected to be sworn in later this week. The announcement was made on Monday by JLP campaign spokesperson Kamina Johnson-Smith. She stated that strong public support for Prime Minister Holness has played a key role in securing the party's victory.
Even as the analyses and discussions of the results of the general elections continue, I think it's important to take note of the incredible enthusiasm, regard, admiration, and love that has been expressed for Andrew Holness across the length and breadth of Jamaica, man, woman, and child. I think the very new element was the children, their admiration for him, and the tone of the campaign and the energy around his road campaign is something that needs to be looked at, especially in the face of the malicious, negative, and highly personal campaign run by the PNP.
The JLP 135 constituencies, while the PNP secured 28.
I am hopeful that this will be a turning point in the politics of Jamaica, and that this strategy of targeting the lead or targeting people personally, that there can be a move away from that, substance for substance and authenticity and engagement with the people. I think it is something that needs to be looked at more closely, and certainly it should not be missed that it was this incredible energy and admiration that undoubtedly would have taken the Jamaica Labour Party across the line.
The final count in the Southeast St. Mary constituency has confirmed a victory for the People's National Party, with Christopher Brown defeating incumbent JLP MP Dr. Norman Dunn and JPP candidate Mark Hutchinson following Sunday's tally. The win marks a significant political shift in the constituency, which has seen closely fought contests in previous elections.
Supporters of the PNP erupted in celebration as the Member of Parliament-elect Christopher Brown was hoisted in the air, dancing through the streets to the party's iconic song March We Are March. The jubilant scenes included music, singing and cheers at the Anotabe Primary and Infant School. In a show of unity, party supporters also took time to embrace some supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party JLP, sending a message of reconciliation after a highly contested election. The MP-elect spoke to our news team after securing a 21-vote margin win.
I come as Moses to deliver the people of Southeast from the hands of the Jamaica Labour Party. As Harry Douglas did it in 1989, so have I done it in 2025. I pledge to be a member of parliament for all of my constituents. I will love them. I will be accessible to them. I will serve them to the best of my abilities, and I will put them first. We will end tribal politics in Southeastern St. Mary. We are going to end discrimination that has characterized the constituency for the past 8 years.
Shane Masters, TVJ News.
With elections now over, political parties and candidates must now file final campaign finance reports within 181 days, detailing all contributions and expenses. These must be submitted to the ECJ with receipts and invoices to ensure transparency. Missing the deadline or submitting incomplete reports may lead to penalties. Pollster Don Anderson says he's stunned by the low voter turnout in last Wednesday's general election, despite expectations of stronger participation. Just under 40% of Jamaicans went to the polls, raising fresh concerns about voter apathy and trust in the political process.
The Electoral Commission of Jamaica ECJ has confirmed that voter turnout in last week's general election was 39.5%, only slightly higher than the 38% recorded in 2020. Pollster Don Anderson says he had expected far greater participation, noting that recent surveys had pointed to stronger voter engagement.
Even during the course of the day when I heard challenges at the polling station, at some polling stations, I didn't think that we would end up anywhere near 39%, that we might get to 45% and not the 50% that people indicated. So I was shocked, absolutely.
But Mr. Addison says that the numbers also highlight troubling issues raised in his polls about bribery and vote buying. He revealed that more than 80% of respondents believe such practices are widespread, though the majority also said they would not accept a bribe themselves.
Over 80% in the poll that we did between the 2nd and 11th of August, 83% said, no, I wouldn't take a bribe to go and vote. And about 81% said, no, I wouldn't take a bribe not to vote. All right, so we may want to say, depending on how we want to flip it, at 80% is a very strong positive, but it means that about 2 in every 5 persons would be prepared to accept some kind of incentive to either vote or not to vote. So those are worrying numbers for me. I looked at, this is where the lower number is more important as far as I was concerned. Close to 20% said they would take a bribe.
The veteran pollster says these concerns must be addressed if the country is to restore confidence in the electoral system and encourage higher voter participation in future elections. He was speaking on Radio Jamaica's weekly news review program, That's a Wrap. O'Shane Masters, TVJ News.
It's time for a break. Stay with us for stories when we return. Welcome back to the Midday News. It's now time for the Business Minute.
VM Group has cut 19 jobs as part of a restructuring exercise despite posting strong growth in revenues and profits last year. The company's operating revenues jumped 40% to $14.8 billion and net profits more than doubled to $823 million in 2024. Chief Financial Officer Frederick Williams says the redundancies were necessary and aligned with the group's future business model. CEO Corny Campbell stressed that the job cuts are part of a phased restructuring process and do not represent the full scope of changes to come. Further afield, global stocks gained on Monday as weak U.S. labor data reinforced expectations of an imminent Fed rate cut, keeping Treasury yields lower. S&P 500 futures rose 0.2%, while European and Asian shares advanced 0.2% and 0.7% respectively. Now in Japan, equities climbed and the yen slipped after Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba resigned, with markets betting the Bank of Japan will delay further rate hikes. Investors are watching whether successors such as LDP veteran Sanae Takashi, who favors looser policy, will take charge. In Europe, French assets outperformed despite political turbulence, with Prime Minister François Bayrou likely to lose a confidence vote that could usher in the country's 5th leader in 3 years. For the Business Minute, I'm O'Shane Masters.
It's now time for news around the world.
In the region, CARICOM has welcomed a draft UN Security Council resolution proposing expanded international support for Haiti as gang violence worsens. The resolution, introduced by the US and Panama, would transition the Kenya-led multilateral security support mission into a 5,500-strong gang suppression force backed by a new UN support office. Funding would come from voluntary contributions and UN member state assessments. CARICOM said the initiative comes at a critical moment amid rising killings, kidnappings, and mass displacement. On the international scene, At least 5 people were killed and several others wounded in a shooting at Jerusalem's Ramat Junction on Monday, according to Israeli police and emergency services. Magen David Adom, the National Emergency Response Service, said the dead included a man in his 50s and 3 men in their 30s. 5 people with serious gunshot wounds were hospitalized, while earlier reports estimated as many as 15 injured. Police said 2 attackers drove to the busy junction and opened fire on people waiting at a bus stop. A security officer and a civilian returned fire, killing the assailants. And those were the top regional and international stories. I'm Hal Shaneberg.
We take another break. Sports is next.